जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुनतीरवनचारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुनतीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुनतीरवनचारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुनतीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा। Sorry, it's all from the farm. I have to take this. Hello. పూజలో ఉంది చెప్పు. అవును ఉన్నది వస్తున్నా. నేను కూడా వస్తున్నా. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुनतीरवनचारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुनतीरवनचारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधे। जय राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधे। जय जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा। जय जगन्नाथ वरदेवादयतु भद्रां जगन्नाथस्वामी नयनपथगामी नयनपथगामी भवतु मे जगन्नाथस्वामी नयनपथगामी नयनपथगामी भवतु मे Nitai Gorango, Nitai Gorango, Nitai Gorango, Gaurari. Nitai Gorango, Nitai Gorango, Nitai Gorango, Gaurari. Jaya Sati Nandana, Jaya Sati Nandana, Jaya Sati Nandana, Gaurari. Jaya Sati Nandana. Sachinandana, Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. श्री राधा गोपी वल्लभ की जय, श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव ब्रह्माई की जय, श्री निताय गौरांग भगवान की जय, हे श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, नमाचार्य ठाकुर जन्म को रोटी वैष्णव की जय, प्रेम से बोलो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपः कुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रे। नमो महाबदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतुष्ये नमः। नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गो ब्राह्मणहिताय च जगदिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयति गिरिमित्रपहतमं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणं श्री परमानन्दमाधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम्। ओम पवित्रो पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थं गतोऽपि वा Yat smaret pundarikaksha sabhyabhyantaram suche. Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhav mahattvavagni nirvapanam shriyakairev chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandambudivardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadanam patmasthapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam नामकारी बहुड़ा निज सर्वशक्ति तत्रादिपानि अमिता स्मरणेन काल एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमिदृशं यः जान्यो त्रिनादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमाननीयमानदेन कीर्तनय सदा हरि न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितं वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतद्भक्तिरहैतकी त्वयि मयि नन्दतनुज किङ्करपतितमां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजस्थितधूलिसदर्शं विचिन्तया नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदरुधाय गिरा पुलकिर्निचितं वपुगदा तव नाम गृहणे भविष्यति युगायितं निमिषेण चक्षुषा प्रवर्षायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दं विरहे नमे अश्लिष्यमापादरतं पिनस्तु मामादर्शनं करोतु वा यथा तथा विदगतो लम्पतो मात्प्रणनाथास्तु एव नापर हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Am I clearly audible, Prabhuji and Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, great. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, all Prabhuji and Mataji. Wonderful to see all of you on Ekadashi morning. Just now we all had a nice festival, Dasera, followed by Ekadashi today. And yesterday evening we also had a wonderful association of Srinivas Acharya Prabhu. So whoever came really were benefited, I can tell you that. So many questions and answers. Hare Krishna, Praveen Prabhu and Soma Mataji, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much.
Raju Prabhu and Sirsha Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Tulsi Mataji and Raja Ramesh Prabhu, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandot Pranam Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Shilpa Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Dandot
Poonam
Pranam
Mataji,
Prabhu.
Shri Gopal Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam. We are missing you, Prabhuji and Mataji. I don't know where in India you are, but Hare Krishna. Mahesh Prabhu, Prashanti Mataji, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Santosh Saitri Prabhu and Mataji, Hare Krishna. The whole family today morning in Mangalarti, Dandot Pranam. Raju Prabhu, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Padma Mataji, thank you for joining. Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Satyadev Prabhuji, Srivali Mataji, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Dandavат Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandot Pranam Prabhuji.
Ram Reddy Prabhu and Mataji, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Anupriya Mataji, thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.
No. Dandavат Pranam Prabhuji. Dandavат Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Prasad Prabhuji and Mataji, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Who is this? Sakshi Sachdev Mataji, Hare Krishna. Dandot Pranam. Thank you for joining, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Sujata Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Lalit Mohan Prabhu ki Jai. Hari Bol. Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Vandala Mataji, Dandot Pranam Mataji. Lulesh Prabhu, Haripriya Mataji, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna. Srinivas Prabhu, Hari Bol. Thank you for joining, Prabhuji. Dandot Pranam.
Dandavat
Hare
Pranam
Krishna.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Sanjay Prabhu, Dandot Pranam, Prabhuji. Thank you for joining. So nice to associate with everybody. And what a fortune. Right? I'm able to tell Dandot Pranam to all very nice, sincere devotees in the satsang. Very, very grateful that you're all joining and encouraging these sessions to continue like this. And we are discussing Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. And the endeavor that we started in a new way, that we'll go chapter by chapter. We have reached 5th chapter of 1st canto. And now it is the 6th chapter today. And this chapter, I'm sorry, I could not get much time to actually prepare. but I briefly read it through, including some of the purports, not all of the purports. But it's a beautiful saga, the chapter itself. Of course, towards the end of the chapter, we have some philosophy, which is like the essence of what all happened in terms of Krishna saying why he appeared, and Narad Muni saying how he felt after he appeared, etc. But the chapter is about Narad Muni meeting Krishna, right? What a beautiful situation, right? Narad Muni, our Acharya, how he met Krishna, how he first time, I mean, they are Nitya Siddhas, they are coming from the spiritual world, but for our understanding, Narad Muni is explaining how he met Krishna, right? So what I did, I just chose one of the verses towards the end where there is a little bigger purport, so we can discuss about it, and then we can go from the beginning of the chapter of how Narad Muni is explaining to Vyasdev how he met Shri Krishna. So I'm going to share the screen. Yeah. This is first canto, 6th chapter, 35th verse. It's a 38 verse chapter. We're just going to towards the end. Yamadibhiryo gapatai kamalo bahato muhu mukunda sevaya yadvat tatha madha na samyati. Yamadibhiryo gapatai kamalo bahato muhu mukunda sevaya yadvat tatha madha na samyati. Yamadibhiryo gapatai kamalo bahato muhu mukunda sevaya yadvat tatha madha na samyati. Does anyone want to read one, Prabhuji?
Lilananda, can I recite now?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, please.
Yamadibhiryogapathai kamalobahato muhu mukunda sevaya yadva tathatmadha nasamyati. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Mataji, any Mataji wants to recite?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I will lead Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yamadibhiryogapatai kamalobahato muhu mukunda sevaya yadvat tathatmadha na samyati. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
Yeah, please repeat after me. Yama adibhi. By the process of practicing self-restraint.
By the process of practicing self-restraint.
Yogapatihi. Yogapathai. By the system of yoga, mystic bodily power to attain the godly stage.
By the system of yoga, mystic bodily power to attain the godly stage.
Kama. Desires for sense satisfaction.
Desires for sense satisfaction. Lobha.
Lust for satisfaction of the senses.
Lust for satisfaction of the senses.
Hataha. Curbed. Muhu. Always. Mukunda. The personality of Godhead.
The personality of Godhead.
Sevaya.
Sevaya.
By the service of.
By service of.
Yadvat. As it is. Tatha. Like that. Atma. The soul. Adha. For all practical purposes.
Na. Does not.
Samyati.
Samyati.
Be satisfied. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Please repeat after me translation. It is true that by practicing restraint
It is true that by practicing restraint
of the senses by the yoga system,
of the
Of
senses
the senses of the yoga system,
one can get relief from the disturbances
one can
one can get relief from the disturbances
of desire and lust,
of
of
desire,
desire and lust,
but this is not sufficient
but
but
this
this is not sufficient
to give satisfaction to the soul.
to give
to give
satisfaction
satisfaction to the soul.
For this satisfaction
for
For
this
this
satisfaction
satisfaction
is derived from
is
is derived from
devotional service to the personality of Godhead.
devotional
devotional service to the personality of Godhead.
Thank you, President Mataji, for helping me read and repeating. You all can go on mute now. Yeah. Muting everyone. Hare Krishna. Satyadev Prabhu, can you mute yourself? I don't know, I can't mute you.
Sorry.
Yeah. No problem. Ravin Prabhu, I'm not the co-host. I'm just appearing as me. That's okay, as long as you can mute whenever there is a need. Okay, so translation. Here, who is speaking? Here, Narad Muni is speaking, right? So it is true that by practicing restraint of the senses by the yoga system, one can get relief from the disturbances of the desire and lust. But this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. For this satisfaction is derived from devotional service to the personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. Purport. Yoga aims at controlling the senses. By practice of the mystic process of bodily exercise in sitting, thinking, feeling, willing, concentrating, meditating, and at last being merged into transcendence, one can control the senses. The senses are considered like venomous serpents, and the yoga system is just to control them. On the other hand, Narad Muni recommends another method for controlling the senses in the transcendental loving service of Mukunda, the personality of Godhead. By his experience, he says that the devotional service to the Lord is more effective and practical than the system of artificially controlling the senses. In the service of the Lord Mukunda, the senses are transcendently engaged. Thus, there is no chance of their being engaged in sense gratification. The senses want some engagement. To check them artificially is no check at all, because as soon as there is some opportunity for enjoyment, the serpent-like senses will certainly take advantage of it. There are many such instances in history, just like Vishwamitra Muni's falling a victim to the beauty of Menaka. But Thakura Haridasa was allured at midnight by the well-dressed Maya, and still she could not induce that great devotee into her trap. The whole idea is that without devotion service of the Lord, neither the yoga system nor dry philosophical speculation can ever become successful. Pure devotion service of the Lord, without being tinged with fruitive work, mystic yoga, or speculative philosophy, is the foremost procedure to attain self-realization. Such pure devotion service is transcendental in nature, and the system of yoga and jnana are subordinate to such a process. When the transcendental devotional service is mixed with a subordinate process, it is no longer transcendental, but is called mixed devotional service. Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Srimad Bhagavatam, will gradually develop all these different systems of transcendental realization in the text. Hare Krishna. A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Yamad Dibhiryogapatai Kamalobahato Muhu Mukunda Sevaya Yadvat Tathatmadhana Samyati. It is true that by practicing restraint of the senses by the yoga system, one can get relief from the disturbances of desire and lust, but this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. For this satisfaction is derived from devotion service to the personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. So it's very clear. I mean, one of the unique things that Srila Prabhupada has introduced all of us is the greatness of devotion service. I don't think anybody discusses about devotion service as much as we discuss in ISKCON. Really. Because I have met so many nice, pious Brahmanas, very pious people, and kind of God-connected people I have met. They all discuss about performing yajnas and, some kind of meditation, some activities like that, right? But the greatness of devotional service was at least heard by me so elaborately only by Srila Prabhupada, and anybody who has not read Bhagavatam can never understand what is this devotional service also, right? The importance of engaging ourselves in devotional service is very, very important. Here, Hare Krishna. Yeah. Praveen Prabhu, can you mute Hanupriya Mataji? Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So the importance of engaging in devotional service has been understood only after we have come to ISKCON, isn't it? And what is the devotional service? Prabhupada so beautifully explains the devotional service is engaging our senses for the satisfaction of Lord's senses, right? Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. Simple definition. Everything you do for his satisfaction. Samsiddhir Haritoshan. And what he wants is already telling in Bhagavad Gita, right? He doesn't want any big paraphernalia. He is Bhavagrahi Janardhan. He looks at our intentions, our actions backed with our intentions, and our simple love for him, right? And whichever we do it, he accepts it. And we are actually continuing in devotional service even now because God is accepting it. I mean, we should not become puffed up thinking that is God accepting my services? My services are so great. Whether or not they are great or small, they are being accepted. Because if they're not accepted, we will not feel the encouragement to continue it, isn't it? Just think about it. If you're doing the services and they're not being accepted by the Supreme Lord, how can you continue it? How can you feel the happiness? Soul experiences happiness, as explained in this in this verse by Narad Muni, only when we perform devotional service, and it makes our soul happy. What is that? Yayatma suprasidati. Atma has to be happy. Yayatma suprasidati. But for that, savai pumsam paro dharmo, yato bhakti radokshaje, ahoite ki aprahiyata, yayatma suprasidati. Then only it will be happy. Now, one important thing we all have to think about is Prabhupada is talking about the strength of the senses, right? And we should not take it easy. Actually, it's a very, very important thing. Am I clearly audible or am I less audible? Please, Prabhu.
No, you are clearly audible, Prabhu.
Clearly. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. So, one of the things that we should understand is the strength of the senses. Strength of the senses is really strong. They're really strong. We cannot compete with them. Now, why am I discussing about strength of the senses? Because sometimes we take it easy. Many times, actually, devotees, they take it easy. Understand one thing, that we are walking in our hall, in our bedroom, in our front room, in our office with 5 serpents. 5 serpents. We have seen Lord Shiva with 1 serpent, right? It just wraps up like that and it stands like this, right? Go and see yourself in the mirror. There are 5 serpents. You cannot see them as serpents right now, but they include your eyes, your nose, your tongue, your skin, your ears. 5 serpents actually there. Because they're never satisfied, right? And managing 5 serpents is not easy, Prabhu. Especially hungry serpents, which are ready to sting at any time, which are not satisfied. It's not easy. It's actually, forget about easy, it's impossible. We cannot manage those 5 serpents. Unless and until you are engaging them in something. Unless and until, what do you call that? You blow that instrument, right? When you bring the serpent. It's been a long
Nadaswaram. Nadaswaram.
Naga, evantaru Prabhu?
Nadaswaram, Prabhu. Nadaswaram.
Nagaswaram. Like that. You do that, right? Unless you do that, you can't, control the serpents. So, Prabhuji and Mataji, when you are not associating enough with devotees, when you're not engaged properly in satsangs, you are in a very dangerous state. Because these 5 serpents you can't control. You are a fool if you are thinking that I can control those 5 senses not by engaging them in devotional service. The picture, బండ భాష చెప్పాలంటే తిక్క ఎంత చెప్పినా తిరగదు. ఏంటంటే, if you are not coming to satsang regularly, if you are not reading Bhagavatam regularly, if you are not performing devotional service, what is devotional service? Whatever your guru gives you, Shiksha Guru gives you, Diksha Guru gives you, Vardhamana Pratakshit Guru gives you, other devotees give you, service. If you don't put yourself in service, you cannot stay in devotional life. See, even now, when I don't see some Matajis or Prabhujis coming regularly to satsang, we are not any gang formation here. We are not like, ours is the biggest satsang. Forget about all that nonsense. That is the least cheapest way of looking at satsangs, right? Some people still have that. I don't know why they think like that, but the only thing that comes to my mind is how dangerously their senses are, troubling them right now. That's the only thing that comes to the mind. Because let me tell you, forget about you, if I don't associate with devotees, I don't meet my seniors, I don't meet my peers, I don't meet my, people who I'm serving, my senses trouble me like anything. They're merciless, Prabhu. They are so merciless that they take me back to the very demonous lifestyle I used to have. 1 minute, they'll take me back. 1 minute. Don't even be in the illusion that, oh, my senses are in my control now. I don't think I will do that mistakes again. Don't be in that illusion. I'm telling all of you, please, hear this one thing out from today's lecture. Don't be in the illusion that you are safe. 1% on illusion unnada bidda nu ayipinu khatam. That's what is Maya. Maya is looking for that only. Your confidence that you can control your senses. If you have that confidence that you can control your senses, that is the beginning of your fall down. I am 0% confident about controlling my senses. If it can be even minus, I'll go to minus also. I am minus 20% confidence. I can control my senses. So I humbly request, before I go ahead with the chapter, I request Lalit Mohan Prabhu to throw some thoughts on and add to what I'm saying or what he feels about it. That's okay, Prabhu. Can you please?
Prabhuji, just before this one shloka, 34, that is also very famous shloka, Prabhuji. If you can make that reset. Means this comes after that shloka. Like 34 is.
You want me to project it? I'll project it 1 second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Etadhi atura chittanam matra sparshechya muhu bhavasindu plavo drishto haricharyanu varnanam. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with their sense objects can cross the ocean of nuisance on a most suitable boat. the constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, it is said that, of course, senses are very dangerous. In 35, he says that what is the food for the soul? And before that, he says the food for the soul is only the transcendental activities of reciting his name and his activities. That's how it starts. Narada Muni gives his own example of how he has gone through all the sufferings in his previous ages. And then he comes to his conclusion. Glorifying the Lord and his names is the only solution or food for the soul. That's how the soul is satisfied. And how it can be done? By devotional service. Prabhuji, like senses, you are saying that senses, Prabhuji. People who crossed 40 or 50 years, for them it is very difficult. In Krishna consciousness, they realize that it is very, very tough. What can I say, Prabhuji? I didn't even cross 10 years or something in Krishna consciousness. But one thing is, can I share this, Prabhuji? Because I always get inspired by this word of, by this sentence of Mahatma Prabhu. Earlier, for 7 or 8 years in my Krishna consciousness, I always have this question, and I used to ask also, how to balance? How to balance? Because, all the way you'll get very much attracted to the sense gratification that you not even think of when you are not in Krishna consciousness. After coming into Krishna consciousness, only it happens. Like you never think of that you can think in this bad also, so bad also. But these things come in our mind when we come into Krishna consciousness. So once Mahatma Prabhu was telling that how Prabhupada told him, an example. Even after falling so down, how can you go ahead in Krishna consciousness? So he said, there is a rope walk. Prabhupada told him, have you seen the rope walk? Yes, Mahatma Prabhu said, yes, Maharaj, yes, Prabhupada, I have seen. So what happens there is, how would a person travel on the rope walk? He says he takes just one step and then he'll get imbalanced. And what he does, with the stick again, he will carefully come again onto the path. And he will balance, he will stabilize. And again, he'll go one step ahead. Now he will go onto the other side. He will get imbalanced onto the other side of this thing, rope. And again, he will again come back. So, and again, he will take the one more step. Again, this side, he will get imbalanced. And again, one step he moves. And again, to that side, he will get imbalanced. Again, he'll come straight. One step ahead. Again, this side completely. So, Prabhupada says to him, even in our Krishna consciousness also, generally what happens is, at times we'll go very bad in bhakti, and at times we'll be on highs in bhakti. On highs that we will think that we are just about the spiritual world anytime now. But Prabhupada says both are dangerous. Somehow or other, what's happening is you are stepping forward. Means you are in Krishna consciousness, either falling down or going high. But still you are in Krishna consciousness. So that is what is important. You are traveling. Somehow or other, do it till you reach the other end of that road. So what happens is that after that you can go like this. That is steadiness, which is nishtha. So nishtha comes after falling down this side or falling down that side, falling down this side, falling down that side. So it is said that whenever we think that we are getting completely imbalanced in bhakti, one thing we should always realize is we are passing this time. We have passed 1 year or 2 years and doing good in bhakti and doing bad in bhakti also. So that's what Prabhupada told Mahatma Prabhu, that is important actually. You passed the time now. You are in bhakti still. You came here and you are asking me the question. Means you are in bhakti. That's okay. That's how Prabhupada gave him a very good answer. So whenever we think that we are very down with senses in Krishna consciousness, we should think that we are in Krishna consciousness or not. So this is a very good answer which Prabhupada gave to Mahatma Prabhu. So Mahatma Prabhu was sharing in class in Chaupati once, while he was giving this class. Sorry, Prabhuji. No, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Oh, Prabhuji, thank you for sharing. No, actually, while I was reading this chapter, I was feeling that we should discuss this. We should discuss this very openly. Because a lot of times what happens, Prabhuji and Mataji, is that we artificially try to control our senses. And then we struggle in devotional life. Please, everybody, hear me, very important thing I'm saying here. We artificially try to control our senses. And then we struggle in devotional life. And because we are struggling without taking shelter of Krishna, trying to artificially control, we become duplicious. Right? We become duplicious. And when 10 duplicious people come into satsang, the relationships become very shallow. Because nobody is being truthful. Nobody is sharing. Nobody is caring. You are more concerned about being judged, and you're more scared of being caught. You understanding what I'm saying, Prabhuji and Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Right? It's a very important thing, that if satsang is not the place where you're feeling comfortable, or where you are feeling that I have to be in a certain way, which I'm not, then you're not going to have good relationships in satsang. Right? The relationships will be shallow. Shallow meaning they're there for me, they're not there for me. And on one side, we say that we are Prabhupada's family. And on the other side, we say we are Vasudeva Kutumbakum. Right? We're all part of Vasudeva's family. But we are truly not taking help from each other. We are just trying to artificially behave that we are all set. See, when somebody says he's all set, how can the opposite person help him? Think about it. Right? You go to the doctor and you behave as if you are completely healthy. The doctor will ask, why did you come here? Same way, when we go to satsang, we are not advanced. We have to behave normally, and we should also seek for help. We should also seek. We all need help. There is nobody on the planet who doesn't need help. Like, for example, Srinivas Acharya Prabhu is here, my dear God brother. I want to spend maximum time discussing how I can be helped in my current situation. Don't think Lilananda doesn't have any problems. Let me tell you, I have more problems than all of you. When I look at all of you, I feel very envious that you are all much betterly fixed. My senses are completely throwing me off the corner, because, and I have to admit that. And I have to admit that not to fake humility, but to actually be truthful to self and to my seniors that I need help. Right? And the most important help that my seniors are doing to me is they are showing me by their own example how they have managed to handle this 5 serpents. And they are reiterating what Prabhupada has given in the purports of how to control this 5 serpents. Number 1, chanting attentively, which we never do. Third one, khatam. Right? But that is the solution, actually. That is the solution. That's okay. Okay, it's very difficult. Be regular. Be regular to your services. Be enthusiastic to do your services. That will give you taste for chanting. Right? And third, take spiritual life very seriously. Because anytime we all can leave. Our next step is right across the corner. Leaving this body. This body that we have it has a timing. There's a clear expiry date. We don't know that date. Sometimes it gives indications. Sometimes it doesn't. So the next body, what it can be, we don't know. See, many times some seniors quote in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada told that 80%, more than 80% of ISKCON devotees will land in heavenly planets. Prabhupada told this. I don't know the context why he told it. No one told why Prabhupada made such a statement, but they do say that Prabhupada made this. Why? Because we are not careful about our spiritual life. See, taking birth in heavenly planets is a very dangerous thing, right? You are delaying you're going back to Godhead by lakhs of years. Not even thousands, lakhs of years, right? So why do you want to do that? Why do you want to go to that Swargaloka again? Swargaloka is not a good place. There your senses will be even more surcharged with even more facilities, with even more contamination. Then you come back here with some impressions of that, and then you start searching for the same sense gratification here. You get frustrated, right? So many problems. And when you come back, I don't know how this Kali Yuga is going to be, which universe you will be. Right now, you are part of this satsang where you can see Praveen Prabhu, Subara Prabhu, Mahesh Prabhu. What satsang you'll see there? You won't tell me. Bakasura, Agasura will be in your satsang. I don't know. Why do we want to take chances, right? So, don't take your senses for granted. Don't think that you can control them. Be regular, be enthusiastic to serve in satsang. Right? The Mridanga classes that we started, the goal is not to make all of us Mridanga players. The goal is to give one more reason to come to satsang. I'm being very open. I actually saw that a lot of people are losing interest. They're not, losing interest means they're getting carried away by many other things. Kali Yuga is like that. Very difficult to practice devotional life, brothers and sisters. Very difficult. Impossible, actually. We are doing activity which we are not supposed to do in Kali Yuga. Really. We are not supposed to perform devotional service. We are doing it now. When we were supposed to do it, we అప్పుడు మొత్తుకున్నారు చేయరా నాయన సత్యయుగా చేయలేదు, ద్వాపరయుగా చేయలేదు, త్రేతాయుగా చేయలేదు, ఇప్పుడు చేస్తున్నాం. బ్యాక్ బెంచర్స్ తో ఇదే ప్రాబ్లం, రైట్? Whole class is passed and gone, backbenchers still sitting there. Now we are here. Now we are doing devotional service. We are attempting to do devotional service by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada in a time when devotional service is impossible to do. Unless we have strong association. Unless we have strong faith in association. What happens if I don't go to satsang? What cannot happen if you don't go to satsang? You don't even understand them. Together we save each other. Together, not individually. It's impossible. I am thoroughly convinced on this, that if I don't have association around me, I'm gone. Finish. Because senses are like that. I can't control the senses. Can you stop your eyes from seeing, Prabhuji? Can you stop your eyes from seeing? And what can you see in the Kali Yuga? What all is being shown to you? Just think about it. What all Kali is presenting in front of you. Yesterday, I was with Srinivas Acharya Prabhu. I went to some shop. He is doing shopping for his son's marriage. So I was not going for shopping all this while. My wife was taking them. Yesterday, I said, okay, Prabhu, it's holiday. I'll come with you. We went to the showroom, one after the other. We were going 2-3 places. How Kali is presenting it itself, My God, I started thinking like a college boy. I want all that again. I want to see that. I want to see flesh. I want to see more enjoyment. I want to see this. And I was thinking, oh my God, because I'm busy going to office and because my weekend is filled with satsang, I'm protected. If I'm not doing that, and I start going to the malls, if I start going to the whatever exhibitions that are going on, I'll be finished. My strength is coming to satsang. My strength is because I'm coming to satsang or conducting or whatever you say, in satsang, whichever service. If I'm not in this, finish. I was shocked because of late I'm not seeing enough outside. Not seeing enough. I don't have time. The only thing I see is, my bead bag, my wife, my children, my office ka crowd, and generally in office people are okay. Then I see the cows. I go and see the cows in the Goshala. Then I see all of you in satsangs. And then I see, new people coming and going, and there is a new batch I'm starting. There is old batch is getting over. There is calling this. I'm actually not seeing the world around me. And I'm protected because I'm not seeing that world around me. One day I went outside, I felt I'm gone. I can't imagine how people can not come to satsang for 3-4 weeks and say they are still in spiritual life. I just can't understand it. I just can't. Either I'm an idiot that I can't understand people's great capacities, or I'm being made an idiot. When somebody says, we are okay, Prabhu. We are okay. We are machina. If you don't come to satsang, what is your life? How do you think you can control yourself? You cannot. I know I'm not reading the whole chapter of Bhagavatam. I'll tell you that story. But the essence is, Narad Muni is very clearly saying, no devotional service, no bhakti, no happiness to the soul. And Supreme Lord's darshan will not happen unless you perform devotional service. And you will not be happy. You will not be happy. Pakka. Right? With his own example, quoting his own life, he is telling them. So what do you all feel? Matajis and Prabhujis, most of you in the call, about what I'm saying. You think you're in danger or no? Or you feel that I am pakka, I'm all set?
100% dangerous, Prabhuji.
Ram Reddy Prabhu is in traffic.
Correct.
No problem. Sorry. Yeah, I wanted to say something. Then
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I just saying. Yeah, Prasad Prabhu.
Yeah. Shall I comment one thing, Prabhu?
Yeah, please. That's the reason I'm asking you all to comment.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. It is good that we are coming to satsang and we are chanting, and we at least trying to be in a different world. In that way, we are trying to control sense. And doing devotional service. Okay, it's a very big word, Prabhu. Devotional service doing. Okay, but how long, Prabhu? Like so, till the last breath, we have to control like this only. So they will not go away. We have to control these 5 snakes. That's all, no, Prabhu.
That's all.
Okay. Being with association, being with doing devotional service. Otherwise, in last minute also, it may come and bite us. We have to live in a different world, actually.
Yes. I mean, I'm not scaring you. I'm not scaring you. At the same time, I'm not saying I don't want to tell a lie. But we devotees, practicing devotees, have to be very careful. We are in ICU. We are in ICU, Prabhu, because we have to be protected from, infections.
But one question, Prabhu. Uh, we are in this kind of association and we are just kind of like controlled environment, we can say. But they are not fully dropped, no, Prabhu.
Huh?
So they are not fully dropped.
Yeah, they're not dropped. They'll never be dropped.
But okay, they will never be dropped, you are saying.
Don't be in the illusion that one day I can go outside and behave like Dev Goswami. You know, naked girls in the pool, and I'll walk from there as if I have seen nothing. That will never happen. Don't be in that illusion.
Oh,
If you are thinking that devotional life will make my senses not anymore attracted to spiritual things, you are in an illusion. Your senses will be your senses, and they'll be exactly the same sense forever. Prabhupada is giving example. Vishwamitra Muni Prabhu. Can we do 1% of what Vishwamitra Muni did?
but Prabhu, even if the last minute, if they are not dropped, then the desire is there, then that will give a rebirth, no, Prabhu. That is where my confusion is.
No. Prabhu, desire and sense gratification are two different things.
Okay.
Senses are nonsense. Understood?
Yes, Prabhu.
Senses are, you can say, they are part of your body. They are different. Their job is to pull you towards sense objects. They are doing the job. Your desire, changing your desire is a change in consciousness, for which sense gratification has to be stopped, because your desires will be affected if you keep gratifying your senses. Understood? Where you put the senses, the desires are towards that. You start desiring towards that.
Okay.
Right? The moment you keep changing your senses from material to spiritual, your desires also will change towards becoming spiritual. Your spiritual life will become more desirous. At the end of the life,
Understood.
your desire is to go back to Godhead. That's what is important. But your senses have not changed. Your senses are those serpents. Serpent will never become peacock.
Okay. So we should treat them separately. Okay.
You have to control them. You have to engage them. That is what Narad Muni is telling here, that you have to engage them.
And also treat them separately and engage them. Okay.
You have to, like even Radheshyam Prabhu many times says, to get rid of habits, you have to stop performing that activity. And then don't go to a place where others are performing that activity. And then make sure that you are performing some better activity. Three things are needed. Stop performing it. Restrain yourself from going to a place which will encourage you to do it again. Do something better than what you used to do. All the three are needed. If I'm only doing something, see here, if I'm only doing something which is better than what I used to do, that's not sufficient, because I'm still going to the same place. I'm still, seeing the same kind of people. It's very dangerous. And how many desires you have, you don't know. Your past, you don't know. Right? You don't know how many lives you have lived before this. What nonsense you're carrying in desires, you don't know. We don't know. Right? So, leaving senses available, open, is the root cause of all fall down. Dhyayato Vishwa Pumsan. Dhyayato Vishwa Pumsan. What is it? You are leaving your senses available. You are making them available for Vishaya, worldly activities. Dhyayato Vishya Pumsan Sangas Tej Upajayate. And then you start developing attraction towards it, and you start developing attachment towards it. Dhyayato Vishya Pumsan Sangas Tej Upajayate. Sangat Sanjayate Kama. Then that turns into lust. Kama Krodha Vijayate. When it's not satisfied, you get anger. Krishna is so beautifully explaining what senses can do. Krodhat bhavati sammohat, sammohat smriti bhavati, smriti bhamshat buddhi nasho, buddhi nashat pranashati. Finish. Buddhi nashat pranashati. Your Prabhupada translates buddhi nashat pranashati into falling back into material pool. Okay, Prabhupada's, exactly is taking us to the point, saying we are gone back. We are gone back. Frustratedly, we'll go back. Right? So you should be very careful. Don't be in the assumption that we'll ever be safe. We will never be safe. In this material world, we are never safe. Prabhu, even inside satsang, we are not safe if you are not careful. Forget about outside. Even within the satsang, you have to be more careful. You've seen ICU, right? All of you have seen ICU. Or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying you've been in ICU. At least you've seen ICU, right? How do they behave? All of them, the sisters and the ward boys, and these days I'm seeing it quite often because of my father. But just observe how they behave. How they behave? Huh?
Very, very carefully, very
put gloves. See, I've seen the nurse comes to my father. She puts gloves. She will clean. She will do all that. And when she's leaving my father to another patient, she removes the gloves. She throws it there. Again, she'll go to the next bed. She'll again put on new gloves. Are you following what I'm saying? Extremely careful. Extremely careful. Why? ICU is already a place which is clean. Why I have to be so? Because we are so vulnerable to get infected. Think about how we are handling ourselves outside the ICU, Prabhu. Just think about it. We are all outside the ICU. It's, when you leave satsang, you're outside the ICU. Just look at it like that. Your life. Satsang, you're in ICU. Outside satsang, you're outside the ICU. How badly can you get infected? Just think about it. And outside the ICU, our mask, our gloves, our immune system is all dependent on chanting. Is all dependent on chanting outside the ICU. If you are not chanting properly, if you are not associating with devotees properly, if you are not prioritizing your spiritual life, if you are thinking I'll settle down and then come to satsang, if you are thinking I'll become serious in spiritual life when I will become serious, when I want to become serious, what are you doing? You are finished. So, I mean, let us come back to Bhagavatam. So here, in this beautiful story, you all can read through the verses. But in this beautiful story, it's about Vyasadeva, who is asking Narad Muni, hey Narad Muni, so what happened after you heard from the Bhakti Vedantas? Last chapter was beautifully explained by Akinchan Priya Prabhu, where he ended at Bhakti Vedantas giving their remnants to Narad Muni. They were very happy with this service. Even as a small boy, they were very happy. And they gave the remnants and they gave the blessings. And right after I think it was Chaturmas, they left. For some season, they were there for a certain period of time. They left. And after they left, Narad Muni was already feeling the separation from not being with Bhakti Vedantas. Right? And then he was the only child of his mother. She was very, very affectionate towards him, very protective towards him. And she was a maid servant, meaning working for some other person for very little. Unfortunately, when she was going to milk a cow in the night time, a serpent came and killed her. And Narad Muni was still a small child. Right? So Narad Muni The beautiful verse actually there. Narad Muni's immediate reaction, even as a small child, the blessings of Bhaktivedantas was such that he simply concluded that maybe this happened because Krishna is planning something bigger for me. Just imagine a small child's mother leaving. He might have cried. Devotees with soft heart. Devotees have very soft heart. Devotees simply cry. What to speak of his mother leaving? Even though it's not explicitly mentioned that he cried, but it's apparent. He would have cried. His mother would have taken care of him so nicely. But his conclusion, irrespective of how much he cried and all that, but his conclusion is, he felt now that his mother is gone, now Krishna wants him to do something different, something more. Or rather, his journey starts now. Because until now, he was under protection of his mother. Now he is completely under the protection of Supreme Lord. Earlier also, but now he is like even physically, there's no one to take care of. And then Narad Muni explains the journey to Vyasadeva, how he traveled places, forests, deep forests, how he was walking, traveling, and how he was seeing the beauty of the nature, and how his craving to see the Supreme Lord start increasing because he heard about the Supreme Lord from the Bhaktivedantas. Very difficult situation. Prabhuji, we can't imagine being in Narad Muni's place. You have nobody in the world and you are just traveling alone without even food. There were times, he was explaining, there were times he didn't have water. He didn't have food to drink or eat. He was completely, sometimes he was, emaciated, like totally boned. Sometimes he got the food. He recovered back, but he was traveling. And then after finding a banyan tree, he got inspired to sit down and meditate. Inspiration from within. Sat down and started meditating. Praying. Meditation means prayer, not some mundane closing your eyes or, praying. Without praying, there is no meaning for meditation. He was praying. Narad Muni was praying. Hey, Supreme Lord, you have been so beautifully explained by the Bhaktivedantas. Can I have your darshan? And while he was praying and meditating and intensely focusing and desiring to see the Supreme Lord, with all humility and prayerfulness, Lord gave darshan to him. He came. It's not important how long he stayed in his meditation. He came. And he saw the Keshava, beautiful, supreme. He actually saw God. And it's so attractive. It's so attractive that he felt, I just want to continue seeing you. All his senses got purified. See, beauty of Supreme Lord's darshan is all your senses. That then the purification happens. Okay, this is the answer. When will my senses be purified? Then, when the Supreme Lord touches them, right? As soon as Lord touches you, the desires of Dhruva changed. As soon as Lord touched him, Dhruva, immediately start praying. As soon as Akrura looked at Krishna, his prayers became even more intense. He felt sheltered. As soon as Lord Krishna touched or gave his darshan to Narad Muni, the boy in the forest, he became completely happy. And then he disappeared. And as soon as he disappeared, Narad Muni started searching for that lotus face. Namah Pankaja Nabhaya, Namah Pankaja Malini, Namah Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankaja Angre. He was searching that lotus eyes, the lotus mouth, the lotus face, the lotus body, everything. Pankajangre. He was searching for that. He couldn't find it. He was already satisfied. He was searching. I want to be in connection with this person. And then the voice came saying that, hey Narad, you will not see me again in this body, in this life. But I'm giving you the assurance that you will see me in next life. And by the way, you will not forget me. The beautiful benediction he gives. You will not forget me, even though you leave this body. Because that's another question that Vyasdev asked, that how do you remember your past life? Okay, it's good. What happened, what you're telling is amazing. But how do you remember that? Then Narad Muni said, this is why I remember, because Supreme Lord gave darshan, and he also gave me benediction that I will remember him. I'll remember him for what I've experienced in the past life. And then, even though all the whole universe devastation happens, Brahma sleeps, and the whole universe goes under Garbhodaksha ocean. All the souls go back into Mahavishnu. And then again, when they're getting created, Narad Muni still remembers what happened in the past life. He completely remembers everything. That's the benediction of Supreme Lord. And he remembers that, and then he, what do you call that? Then he sees how Brahma is creating the creation. For the first time, he's seeing. Then he sees, Atri Muni, this Muni, that Muni, they're all coming out of Brahma, the Prajapatis are coming out. And so suddenly he also comes out as son of Brahma. And then he's presented this Veena to chant the holy names of God by Krishna. He says, Lord Krishna gave me this Veena. So he takes this Veena and he starts chanting. And he's been given some extraordinary service to go around the planet and glorify the Supreme Lord anywhere he wants. Around planets, actually. Paramahamsa, Narad Muni, right? He can go anywhere. He doesn't have any oxygen, carbon dioxide, any problem like that. Our body, his body is completely different. He's got a body in which he can go anywhere, any place, at any pace. Any pace. He appears here, appears there, appears here. And his only job he takes up as a service, which is his devotional service, is to spread devotional service. And look at his disciples. Glorious disciples, pure devotees, acharyas. Prabhupada told he visited ISKCON temple many times. Prabhupada told that he visited ISKCON temple many times. Prabhupada doing the kirtan, and he's looking at the door, and he's looking at the asan, and then he's laughing, and devotees asked, Prabhupada, what were you seeing there? He said, did you see Narad Muni was there? We are fortunate, Prabhu, that we know Prabhupada. Prabhupada is not an ordinary person. He could see Devatas. He could see the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord told him all the purports of Bhagavatam, told him all the purports of Bhagavad Gita, all the scriptures that he has translated. Purports are also equal to translation because they are told by the same Supreme Lord, right? Translations are told by Supreme Lord, that we know. The purports are also told by Supreme Lord. Right? And then, as a token of gratitude, Narad Muni starts speaking. After getting this beautiful body, after getting this benedictory, situation where he can perform devotional service eternally, he speaks and he glorifies. Right? I just read the last few, because till now what he told is a story. You can read the story, you can read the verses and purports, but in essence, this is what it is. But the most important in this chapter is the last 7 to 8 verses, which is what I want to read. I'll just read the translation. So all these verses here is how he left and how he was going around the mountains, how he, finally saw the Supreme Lord and he desired and wanted to see again. Then the Supreme Lord appeared and told that you can't see me again. but he benedicted with the remembrance. All this verse number 27, right? So then let's read from 26 onwards. Thus I began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. Amazing. And so, O Brahmana, Vyasdeva, in due course of time, I was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna, and who therefore had no attachments, being completely freed from all material taints, met with death as lightning and illumination occur simultaneously. Having been awarded a transcendental body befitting an associate of the personality of Godhead, I quit the body made of 5 material elements, and thus all acquired fruitive results of work stopped. At the end of the millennium, when the personality of Godhead, Lord Narayana, lay down within the water of devastation, Brahma began to enter into him, along with all creative elements. And I also entered through his breathing. After 4.3 billion solar years, when Brahma awoke to create again by the will of the Lord, all the rishis like Angira, Marichi, Atri, and so on were created from the transcendental body of the Lord, and I also appeared along with them. Since then, by the grace of the Almighty Vishnu, I travel everywhere without restriction, both in the transcendental world and in the 3 divisions of material world. So he can go spiritual world, material world, anywhere he wants. This is because I am fixed in unbroken devotional service of the Lord. See, he himself is saying what gave him that. And thus I travel constantly singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord, vibrating this instrument called Veena, which is charged with transcendental sound and which was given to me by Lord Krishna. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, whose glories and activities are pleasing to hear, at once appears on the seat of my heart, as if called for, as soon as I begin to chant the holy name. So he can actually see Krishna every time he chants. What a situation, right? It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of nuisance on the most suitable boat, the constant chanting of transcendental activities of Supreme Godhead. So even a materialistic person can be saved, right? Simply by chanting the holy names. It is true that by practicing restraint of the senses by yoga system, one can get relief from the disturbances of desire and lust, but this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. For this satisfaction is derived from devotional service to the personality of Godhead. We read the purport of this whole verse. O Vyasdeva, you are freed from all sins. Now see what he's saying. You are freed from all sins. Thus I have explained my birth and activities for self-realization. As you asked, all this will be conductive for your personal satisfaction also. So if you hear devotional activities, realizations of devotees, we get purified. 37. Sutta Goswami said, thus addressing Vyasdeva, Srila Narad Muni took leave of him, and vibrating on his Veena instrument, he left to wander at his free will. All glory and success to Sri Narada Muni, because he glorifies the activities of the personality of Godhead, and so doing, he himself takes pleasure and also enlivens all the distressed souls in the universe. So I have kind of gone through the purports, of most of these verses. Actually, very small purports. It's more like a saga and story that Narada Muni shares here. Most of it we have discussed. So, any questions, Praveen and Matthews? 838. Any questions? Any reflections?
Prabhuji, one question, Prabhuji.
Yes, Ram Reddy.
Yeah, yesterday also the same question I had, Prabhuji, but I couldn't ask. Whatever you said, Prabhuji, like outside, you said at least you're safe in office, Prabhuji, but I'm not safe in office also. But how to control, Prabhuji? You said engage, but yeah, whenever we are in satsang and whenever we are reading in group, it's okay. At least myself, I'm in, thinking about Krishna, bhajans, all that is fine. But yeah, out of this satsang or like this group, when I'm outside, my mind always agitates me. And it's continuous, Prabhu, every minute, every second. Like in that time, like what is how to control, Prabhuji, how to like control my mind? Because at that time I cannot engage my mind because I'm working, I'm doing something else. That is my question, Prabhu.
Yeah, it's a very practical question, Prabhuji, which all of us go through. Very difficult thing. But understand that the stronger our association, the stronger our morning program. Actually, Prabhupada answered this. Simply was saying your morning program should be very strong when you're going out. Right? Before going out, your morning program should be very strong in the morning. You should have finished your 16 rounds or at least finished majority of the rounds properly. You should have had a Mangalarti. You should have read a decent amount of reading is also important, or hearing Bhagavatam every day. You should also hear, you should also read. You might think, Prabhu, this is very difficult in the morning time, but you know what? I mean, this is what will make us survive through our day outside. If you take this easy, see, most of the time, I tell you, problem with us is we become comfortable very easily. We don't gauge the we don't gauge the risks that we are taking by not staying protected. Right? We talk about being protected when we are deceased and everything because we know that we are deceased. But how do we stay protected when we are rejecting to accept that we are deceased? We are rejecting to accept that we are deceased. A lot of the devotees make that mistake. They don't know how dangerously they are situated. I am telling you, even knowing also it's so difficult. It's so much that's going on outside. But devotee association is very important. Never stay alone, Prabhu. Never stay alone. That is one thing. Never ever stay alone. Because when you're alone, your serpents will become even more hungry. They'll become even more hungry and they'll become even more dangerous when you're alone. And even in such, and be very regular to satsang. That's the only hope. See, when you look at a satsang devotee, you should immediately feel like crying and going and falling at his feet that thank you very much. You have come here to save me. That should be the feeling looking at satsang devotees. I'll tell you, once it happened in my life, when I was away from satsang for a long time, when I was in South Carolina, I was thrown away by Krishna because of my offenses, whatever I did. So, me and my wife, we were struggling for association. There was nobody in that city called Greenville. There was practically not a single devotee that we knew. 2 weeks, 3 weeks passed, 4 weeks passed. We are like lifeless. For the first time, we were feeling lifeless. My children are there. Parth and they were like 3 years and 4 years, something like that. Very young. And my wife, me, we were alone. We are completely stuck in the city. We don't know where to go. We don't know what to do. We are suddenly absolutely available to watch movies. We are suddenly absolutely available to watch going to malls. We are suddenly absolutely available to shop. Then nobody can check us. No devotees around. I don't have to wear kantimala. I can remove my tilak. I don't have to pretend that I'm a devotee anymore. I'm not even initiated then. That means I have not made any formal commitment to any guru. It's a very vulnerable state. And that's when we immediately started running to Atlanta. Atlanta was 4 hours drive, 4 hours drive, 3.5 to 4 hours drive. Just to see devotees, just to hear somebody telling Haribol. There's nobody telling Haribol. Just to go and Unnara, Unnama. Then Srimad Bhagavatam, who is currently here, he was 2.5 to 3 hours north, Charlotte. We went to his house. We had no other choice. Need a Siksha Guru at all times. You will always need a Siksha Guru. If you think you don't need a Siksha Guru, you're gone. Anybody, you need a Siksha Guru. Even if you're 40 years in Krishna consciousness, you still need a Shiksha Guru who will keep reminding you, telling you what is right for you. My Shiksha Guru taught me like that. I'm convinced on that. So I went. So Prabhuji used to give classes, a lot of questions and answers, purificatory talk. Then I used to come back. Just imagine traveling with two small children on the only Sunday that you get in America where you have to do all your work. We used to go every Sunday, 6 to 7 hours of travel every Sunday, 6 to 7 hours back and forth, minimum, Atlanta or Charlotte. We understood, my God, if we don't associate it. And immediately I started a satsang in Charlotte, in Greenville. Because I realized that Friday is a danger now. Sunday I'm going there. What about Friday? Let me also put Friday into play. Saturday was all for home related activities. But Friday, satsang. I start giving people, because now people around me will keep a check on me, right? See, satsang you create so that they will help you, not you will help them. So everybody is now, oh, this fellow is devotional fellow. And I know that now people around me I know that people around me think that I'm devotional, so I better behave devotional.
Yes, Prabhu.
Right? So this is another way of protecting yourself. You have to protect yourself and understand how dangerous it is. Right?
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. And never be scared or never be shy to put forward that, senses are troubling you. Senses are troubling me. Senses are troubling everyone. Their job is to trouble. They are created to go to sense objects. See, two magnets are there. Now, can you complain why this magnet is going to this magnet? That's meaningless complaint. It's made to go. Its nature is to go. Senses nature is to. Soul's nature is not sense gratification. Senses nature is sense gratification. Sanatana Dharma Seva is our soul's nature, not our senses nature. Our senses nature is to go and get attracted to sense objects.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have one question, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Okay, the senses and desires, the question is in between those two, Prabhu. Senses are acting because desire is there, Prabhu. Okay, desire is being stored in our mind, in subconscious mind. Yes, no, Prabhu. That is the link.
Senses are acting because senses will act, even though we have desire or not.
Okay.
Don't mix these two things, Prabhu. I mean, they are related, but understand they're independently also existing.
Okay.
Prabhu, for example, after coming to satsang for 30 years, I don't have desire for sense gratification, but I'm performing sense gratification. What is going on? Tell me. A devotee, he does not want to do illicit sex. He knows it's bad. He still performs it. What is going on?
Desire is there, Prabhu.
Desire is not there. It's not the question of desire. Desire ledu. Desire ledante, at least I can tell you, a lot of it is gone. You don't want it. Okay. That's the question. That's the question that Arjuna asks Krishna. That, hey Krishna, even a person with knowledge, even a person who wants to control his senses, still cannot control his senses.
Okay.
That's exactly the question in Bhagavad Gita. And
So
Krishna
senses provoke desire. That's what you're trying to say, Prabhu.
Huh?
Even if I don't have desire, because you have opened up the senses, senses provoke desire.
Yes, because kama esha, krodha esha, rajo guno samudbhava. He says, and when that lust works along with mode of passion, it converts into wrath. Okay. Krishna is explaining the answer to this. We don't have to manufacture the answer. He's telling that lust is sitting in our senses. Because consciousness also. But very dangerous. And if you're in mode of passion, together, if they mix your senses and mode of passion, they mix, creates wrath, meaning completely damaging activity to self and others. Destroying the world, the greatest enemies of the world. Right?
Yeah.
So,
Got it.
so desire, Prabhu, our whole life is to change our desire. Our whole life is to change our desire from material happiness to spiritual happiness. From self enjoyment to serving God and others. The whole life is about changing the desire. That keep happening, provided you don't allow your senses to independently act. And you command your senses with your intelligence to act for the right purpose. Engage your services in the service of the master of the senses. That is the only way. You cannot forget about controlling senses. You cannot now. You have to engage them. And where do you engage your senses in service, Prabhu? Tell me. Office lo chestara cheyaledu. Ekkada chestaru? Satsang. Satsang is a place. See, yesterday all the children, they stopped sitting in satsang. Sometimes they're going out. It's okay. In their age, that's what they like. But I immediately understood. Now, what did they get from satsang? We all spent such a nice time with Srimad Bhagavatam. I got my nice quota of recharge battery, my spiritual battery. But what about my children? I went out immediately, start serving. Today's dinner prashadam, you all will serve. I have to engage their senses. Some or the other way. In satsang, their senses have to be engaged. Otherwise, gone. Oh, it's 8:50.
Okay, bro.
We have to engage their senses.
This is root of the entire subject, Prabhu. What you have discussed today, what you have shared. This is the root. Thank you.
Anybody wants to enjoy? Sorry. Anybody wants to share more?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Uh,
Prabhuji, manaki famous picture ఒకటి ఉంది కదా Prabhuji. అన్ని horses are compared as senses and reins are mind. When they show about the body.
The picture. Your senses are the ropes. The mind is the driver. The intelligence is your.
So is it because my mind is taken over by senses and mind control ఎక్కువ లేకపోతే then it becomes a servant to the senses and అనుకోవచ్చు కదా?
Yes. Mind is the sixth sense. Your five senses and mind. Krishna says that your five senses and mind is troubling you in this material world. What is that verse? Bhagavad, we did it as part of Bhakti Shastri. Indriyas and mind. They are putting you in this material world and you are struggling, living entity is struggling.
మనశ్శష్టానింద్రియాని ప్రకృతి మమైవాంశో జీవలోకే జీవభూతా సనాతన మనశ్శష్టానింద్రియాని ప్రకృతి స్థాని కర్ష.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Madhu. Right? So that is the sixth sense. That is nonsense. Yeah. Very dangerous. Anyway, the point is, the main thing I wanted to say as part of today's satsang is, don't take senses for granted. If you are doing that, that's the biggest nonsense you are doing. Be regular to satsang. Why would anybody call anybody to satsang? Picha, Prabhuji Randi, Mataji Satsang Randi, please come to satsang. Enduku raatleru, please you come. Why? Because we know that senses are so dangerous. అర్థమైందా ఇప్పటికైనా లేదు ఇంకా అర్థం కాలేదు? ఇది ఒక్కటి అర్థం చేసుకుంటే చాలు ఇవాళ క్లాస్. బండ మీద రాసినట్టు అర్థం కావాలి. Like writing on the rock. If I play with my senses, I'm done. I'm done. There is no discussion after that. Devotional service, going back to God, is very far. Be very careful engaging your senses. I'm telling this to myself. Very dangerous, Prabhu. And world outside is absolutely not conducive for devotional life. We are dealing with very, very difficult times. Our only shelter is satsang. And when you come to satsang, don't sit like a Barbie doll, waiting for decoration. No. come to satsang and serve. Enthusiastic to serve. How can I serve? What can I do? First service is EV.
Shravana.
Sit down and listen. What is the message this week from Krishna? What is the message next week from Krishna? Sit down and listen properly, attentively, without any disturbance. Sometimes I see, people come to satsang these days. They're not sitting in satsang. By the way, Gapal Vartuna. Two Mataji are sitting in one room. और क्या Mataji? और चल रहा है Mataji? तुम इसलिए है क्या सत्संग को? इल्लो वదిలేసుకొని పిల్లలు దానికి వచ్చినాం ఇక్కడికి. పిలవాలనా? Mataji, can you please come and sit in the hall now? Lecture has started. Literally, I have to call some Matajis now. Some Prabhujis are going outside and discussing something. What do you want to discuss outside? We are reading Bhagavad Gita here. Bhagavatam, Prabhupada, purport. Sit down. This is why you are so. A Gapal Gotte అక్కడ ఆఫీస్ లో కొట్టుకోవచ్చు. ఎవడు తిడతాడు పట్టుకొని? ఇప్పుడు చిన్నపిల్లలు అంటే బెత్తం తీసుకొని కొట్టవచ్చు. మిమ్మల్ని కొట్టనడు కొట్టలేదు. నా మీద కేసు వేస్తారు. నన్ను కూడా కొట్టలేదు నా శిక్షా గురువు. దానికంటే తయారైనా నేను. రైట్? I wish that culture of keeping a stick in satsang will start, where Pusavati, I wish my Shiksha Guru would do that to me. Srimad every time brings the stick. Kusa! Okay, I'm telling you, we are so freakingly independent. We are earning, we have our family, we have grahastas. Your mat intam manam, your mat innam manam. We will not listen to anybody unless we go through it. But we are risking, Prabhu, we are risking. Let's become very serious about spiritual life. And achieving Krishna is only possible when we are sincere. And Narad Muni saw Krishna because he was sincere. Right? A lot of people did so many tapasas, they didn't see Krishna. Narad Muni was simply a small boy wandering in the forest, but with a pure desire and a blessing of Bhakti Vedantas. Right? That's why I could see. We also can see, provided we want to see, provided we are sincere to see. Are we really willing to see? How many of us are eager to see God? And after seeing God, what will you do? I have many other things to do. Anyway. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Unless there is any other question or comment. Lalitman Prabhu, if you are still existing, yeah, you are there. Anything you want to conclude with, Prabhu? If I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me.
Prabhu, it's like, I am staying independent from 1 week or one, because I didn't call any of my seniors, or of course my basement, my seniors I haven't called. It's like scolding me. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for making me remember. Apart from that, Prabhuji, from today's class, it's very clear that senses in themselves, they are, they're different. We always think that mind acts through senses there, but it's not like that. Senses in themselves have a lot of desires, because they're very, very addicted to their own things from past of us. First, they will act very grossly. And if they stopped acting, then the mind comes into play. And false ego. So this is how the step by step. So as per you, it is said that it is very clear that we are not even in the stage of controlling our senses.
We cannot.
You say that it is, it can only be done by engaging them in service, devotional service. That's it.
That's it.
Am I concluding it? Correct me.
Yeah. Prabhu, I mean, when I was reading Ramayana recently, I was shocked to hear that Lakshmana never saw the face of Sita. Who is Lakshmana? Sankarshan. I mean, like, he never saw the face of Sita. He was only looking at the lotus feet of Sita. My mother's lotus feet only I see. I mean, I'm just not about sense gratification. I'm just saying how careful such a great Supreme Personality of Godhead himself is giving. How we are supposed to be. Right? The senses are very dangerous. They are made for sense objects are made, senses are made. Their job is to search for sense objects. They will do that. If we are not careful, then sense control is not possible. We have to be all the time in satsang. Prabhu, we cannot go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, mall, Friday, theater, Sunday to satsang and say that we are controlling our senses. Finish. Not possible. We cannot do. Don't be in that illusion. So basically, I'm also telling you, see, isolation is not a positive word. Isolate yourself is not a positive word. Insulate yourself is a very positive word. We have to insulate ourselves, not isolate ourselves, but we should also isolate ourselves a little bit. Meaning we should interact with the material world how much is needed, not more than that. I'm really telling you. That's being smart isolation. If you have to add that isolation in a positive way, smart isolation is what? You're smartly deciding when you want to risk yourself. What is the right time to risk yourself? And most important thing, your morning program. Your morning program should be very, very strong. Then you can actually insulate yourself and no need to isolate too much. But isolation is still needed. Prabhupada never told, go to morning, finish your morning program and go to a movie after that. And you will not feel anything. Right? What is that latest Chiranjeevi movie that is coming? Megastar. I don't know. Some whatever. Right? You cannot say that I chanted my 32 rounds. Now I'll go to the movie and movie will not affect me. Movie will affect you. Movie will affect you because you are going to a place to get affected. Isolation also is needed. But that's not the only message of Krishna consciousness. Insulate yourself with good sadhana and be very watchful of where your senses are. Every time where your senses are. What you are looking at. What you are doing. What you are eating. From where you are eating. Very important. Then only we can control our senses. Okay, anyway, this can go on forever. Prabhu, please pray that I will control my 1% of my senses, and help myself. Please engage my senses rather. Engage my senses. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha ananta koti Vaishnav vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Sai Gaur Hari Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari.
Thank you very much for your attention. Lalitman Prabhu, thank you Prabhuji for your nice comments.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.